You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's America's Got Talent After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's America's Got Talent After Show.
Yeah. Welcome. Never let it go. Ever. Welcome to another edition of AfterBuzz TV's America's Got Talent wrap-up show. I am Daniel Weiss. Joining us, as always, is Kevin John.
Good to be here.
Filling in, Corey Taki is not here tonight.
Actually, I am Kaori. I just forgot to shave.
That's true, Corey. You actually look more lovely tonight.
Thank you.
Than normal.
I got a little makeover on the way. I thought you guys would like it.
But Corey, you're not wearing your traditional hot pink lipstick.
I forgot the pink. I was ditching the pink for a while. I thought switch it up. You know, I brought this hat, but I don't know. Does my hair look okay?
It does.
I tried to put the headphones over the hat, and it wouldn't.
It looks a lot better than whatever you were wearing your hair was last Saturday or last Tuesday. Didn't you have like some blonde or pink highlights in it or something?
I did in pink lipstick.
And the half shirt.
And the half shirt,
You were wearing a half shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see my rolls of jelly.
Corey, you did really good this time. You stepped it up.
Thank you.
You look like someone I would bring home to my mother.
Oh, that's what I was going for.
It's speaking of bringing home to mom, one thing that you could bring home to your mother, even though Mother's Day was like a month ago, but mothers love gifts, and what better gift to give your mother than Marina Menounos's
You can't even say her name right.
I cannot, but that's why I'm going to say Maria, and you guys say the last name. Ready? When I say Maria, you say Menounos. Maria.
Menounos.
Maria.
Menounos. Did we say it right?
That was kind of it. At any rate, she has this amazing book out right here. We may not get her last name correct, but the one thing we will get correct is the endorsement of this book.
You're covering her rockin' abs. You can't do that.
That is
there
true.
You go.
That is
I
true.
mean, look at those.
And you too can have those abs if you read this book, work out 10 hours a day, eat a very high protein diet, and what else, Daniel?
And buy this book.
And buy this book.
And read it. This book will teach you how to have rockin' abs and how to hold an apple in your left hand. It's everything that you need to know to be an every girl, even if you're a guy.
Every girl.
Every true.
Check out the book. It's actually really great. It's really inspirational.
It's my favorite color, pink.
Right. It's perfect for a Corey right here.
And speaking of Corey, guess what it also has in here, which Corey loves? Dogs.
Puppy dogs.
It is full of puppy dogs. Who does not like rock-hard abs, wonderful diets, and dogs? The 3 essentials to a healthy life.
Whoever they are, I don't want to meet them. Now, let's jump into the show.
I love you, Daniel.
I know.
What show is this?
This is America's Got Talent.
That's the one.
I forgot to, so it's cool.
I thought the talent was kind of subpar tonight.
Thank you.
It was. We'll get into it, but we
Thank
only
you.
had 2 no's in the entire show tonight.
It's true. Apparently, the judges thought the talent was amazing.
Right. It was very subpar. It was very, cookie cutter, middle of the road. But we'll get into that. Let's start talking with our first act that we saw, Emily West, who is a singer. She came out, and Kaori, a.k.a. Branden James, the wickedly talented singer that we have
Thank you.
gracing us
Oh, you're
tonight.
so kind. Thank you.
So you pointed out right away that she already has 3 albums out, and she's an established singer.
I've been listening to her records for years. Actually, she's a really... I love her voice. I've always been a fan of hers. It was odd to see her on the show. I know that the show kind of gets some flack for bringing artists in off the street that they pretend are just amateurs, and they're actually like established professionals. there might be one in this room that did that happened to too. But
You weren't gonna call me out,
I
but
was
now that
about
you
to
did.
say.
I was thinking of Kevin.
Exactly.
we all were
Remember
thinking of
season
Kevin.
5 when I was a stand-up comedian on there? And
I do
they
remember
thought I was
that.
hilarious, but I've been doing it for 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
But good for Emily. She's getting more exposure, and
Right.
they didn't seem to make as many. Like they didn't set her up to be like a bag woman. They actually, she
Right.
said she's been a songwriter for 8 years and a singer-songwriter. So I guess that's okay.
They didn't
that's-
hide it.
They're not hiding it as much as
Exactly.
they used to.
And that's what I say. To her defense, she did acknowledge it. Like you said, it wasn't like she had this story where she was like a sharecropper back in, Arizona for 10 years and just started singing. Like, hers, not to say that people that do have those stories on there are being disingenuous, all right? But clearly she was authentic in acknowledging that. And, I don't know. I guess I was going to ask this to you, Branden. It seems like America's Got Talent is all about finding talent. That's what they want to do. It's about America finding
Right.
talent. So isn't that somehow a conflict of, or some sort of breach if you go out and get an already established star? Like, how are they able to do that with no violation of contract or anything?
Well, I mean, they write the contract, so there's no violating it if they write it that way. But I think a lot of shows do it, and probably most of the talent shows do it at this point because there's more cachet in someone who has a YouTube following, who has some notoriety out there to begin with.
So then the question is,
so Renee Zellweger was amazing.
she was.
Right.
She
She looked just like.
Yeah, she really
if
did.
anyone wanted to know what happened to Renee Zellweger, just
She's
watch.
singing now.
Yeah,
She
you saw
is.
it. She's singing.
She's
Right.
pursuing
She
a new
goes by
career.
Emily West.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then let's move on. We've got enough about her. To Duo Trapeze was 2 ladies that did a trapeze act. They were very good. I thought specifically that it's nothing I hadn't seen before, except that it's 2 women instead of a guy and a girl or 2 guys. But for me, it was, again, middle of the road. They went through, but what'd you guys think?
Yeah, I'll be honest. It's not really one of the acts that stick out in my head from the episode tonight. I thought it was good for what it's worth for 2 people going on a trapeze. I thought it was pretty average for a trapeze. It was nothing. Like I said, it was nothing that I slapped Branden and said, "Man, that was hell of a show."
I don't even really remember it, except that it was 2 girls. Like I
Right.
couldn't tell you
Yeah.
one trick they did.
It was so quick. One of the
Yeah.
things that they've been doing the last couple seasons is just cutting in midway or just showing a tiny bit of it so you don't really get a feel for it. And then when it comes back, you either don't remember it or they don't even show it.
It also
Yeah.
makes our jobs a lot harder because then we have nothing to talk
Right.
about.
Yeah. Last season, there were some that cut in from commercial
in the middle of the performance.
in the middle of it, and then
Yeah.
they didn't even say who it was.
Yeah.
So it does make it a lot tougher for us. So let's just say that they were okay.
Yeah.
So next we have Carly Joe Jackson, and she came out right away, and the judges said, with that name, you have to be a superstar, and it's because she sounds like Carly Rae Jepsen, her name.
Thank God she did not sing "Call Me Maybe."
Hey,
Right,
I
I
just
know.
met you.
I'm Canadian. I'm a singer. This is my song, Call Me Maybe. She was fine. She is a singer. To me,
Yeah.
I was saying this while we were watching it, not to take away from anyone who's a singer, present company included, not to take away from that, but when I watch the show, I don't care as much about the singers or dancers. We have other shows for that I don't watch.
I think that's what makes people want to watch this show is the fact that they're not singers on it. But I think the reason that there's so many, I've theorized this a couple times, is one is that they're very marketable. There's a lot of cachet in singers because you can do a lot with them. You can go on tour, you can sell merchandise, you can do all the stuff that you can't do with some of the other acts in the same way. And I think the other reason is that there's continuity. So the viewers, they're used to watching singer shows. So if you put a lot of singers in there, then it feels familiar to the viewers. I think that's why.
Yeah.
Very good point.
No, that is a really good point, and I think that just they have to kind of put singers on there to truly encompass all of talent that America has to offer, but kind of like Daniel, I would kind of appreciate it as a viewer because we're already overly saturated with singing shows. I think pretty much every other talent-based reality show out is on singing. I don't think other than Last Comic Standing. So it's good to see a show that incorporates other acts. Also, I think the main reason is because with singers, the good thing, like you said, they're easily marketable. You can do a lot of things with them, but it's for that same exact reason that I would prefer for them to incorporate more other acts, like variety acts or, magician acts or, things of sort where people don't typically have a venue or a genre to go down. I'd like for them to get the exposure to do something out of it.
So maybe we start a petition to ban singers from AGT.
I'm in.
All right.
I wouldn't say ban them, but a quota.
No,
there
let's
has to
ban
be a
them.
quota.
No,
like
ban
only
it.
There you
three.
go. All or nothing.
We're in this together, Kevin.
So then it's gonna have to be the name of the show is gonna, instead of AGT, it has to be America's Got Talent, but no singers.
Minus singers.
Minus singers. There you go. Put the patent.
America's
like it.
tired of singers.
America's tired of singers.
America's got too many singers.
There you go.
I was gonna say America has got talent other than singers.
Right.
There you. That's a
like
good
it.
hook.
There we
That
go.
works.
But in all honesty, real quick on that one, I've realized that because there's so many singers now, you have to have, at least for me, something that no one else does.
Yeah.
Because everyone's a singer, and it's now on this show, great, you're a really good singer, but that's not talent enough anymore.
Yeah.
If a huge majority of America, to us, the viewers, are singers. So you have to have a hook, like being a really good opera singer, or being in a troupe, or
A band or
a band. And we'll get to, there was a group that just shocked all of us that was great. We'll get to those in a second, but let's move on to Ori, who was a foot juggler. Came out and
Oh yeah, she was cool.
She was
great.
juggling tables.
Yeah, she said she's a juggler. She comes down, she lays it on her back and starts juggling a table with her feet.
Yeah, like some red IKEA table.
Right.
It was awesome.
I believe it was a florg.
Something like that, right? Some
Right.
Scandinavian name.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
impossible to pronounce.
Right, a florg.
The Flurg.
I
It has like
IKEA.
10 letters. Have you been to IKEA before?
I have been to IKEA before.
Do you
I actually
believe-
bought
I
a
don't
couch
believe 'em.
there.
Oh, you mean
bought a
a
couch.
kurorg?
No, no, I have no idea what you just said.
It's all
But-
Swedish names.
Okay, I'm not Swedish. I know I look white, but I'm not Swedish at all. So.
All right, moving on.
Baila conmigo.
Yes.
We had Spanish lessons earlier. Do you guys remember what that means?
Yes,
That means
I
dance
sing.
with me.
Well done, well done. You get a high
Yes,
five
what
for
Kevin
that.
said.
Exactly.
I thought it meant buy me a taco.
Nothing at all racist about that one.
no.
No, nothing.
I liked them, but they were moving at like triple time, and they're from Colombia, and that's all I gotta say. I don't know what it means.
I know exactly what you think it means.
But you know what? I thought it was cool that I thought it was just some adults, and then they brought out like 50 kids,
Right.
and it was a cool surprise element.
Right. For TV, I thought it looked great. I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking if you're there watching it, it's probably too much because all these kids come out and then they're blocking the singers in the back, and it's probably hard on the eyes to see. But again, we weren't there. I don't know. But I thought it was cool.
I thought the kids were a cute element. I thought
Right.
the kids, 'cause especially the little ones in the front. I mean, they were just motor moving their legs, and I'm like, their legs are barely even grown in, and they were just sitting there. It's pretty awesome.
Right. I thought it was good. So we didn't say it for all of these, but so far everybody's gone forward. Everyone got a yes that we mentioned previously. And let's go on to Rachel Butera, who is an impressionist, who
Yes.
I personally thought she was good with her impressions. She only did a few. She didn't have the best material, but she did tailor it to each person. But I also realized that in 90 seconds, you don't have time to really get your point of view in. You just have to hear some impressions.
I don't know. I've seen a lot better impressionists on that show before. There was
Right.
Angela Hoover, who we had last
Right.
week.
She was great.
Spot on. There was a guy also, I can't remember his name, but he had this wall behind him of like 150 names, and the judges
Yes.
just picked one, and
Oh,
he would
yeah,
just,
I remember that.
just
He was
like
great.
rapid fire, and he was so good. She was a little bit lackluster, and also I don't think that there's anyone who has ever been able to perfect Mel B's accent yet. Like everyone butchers it.
Right. She made
I'm
her
not even gonna
sound
try.
like it was Mel B who smoked a pack of
It was
cigarettes
like
an
Mel
hour.
B and Marge Simpson.
Right.
Yeah.
It was very raspy. It was like Macy Gray with Mel B mixed in. But yeah, no, I think she was okay. I agree with Branden. I have seen other impressionists that are a lot, more impressive. And also another thing, this is something, a problem I always see with impressionists, is that it seems like with a lot of their routines, they focus so much on the impressions that they kind of forget the actual routine.
Right.
And the content is not that good. It's just more so the impressionist. So there's very few that I've been able to see that have mastered both a solid routine with great impressions. And I think she lacked a little bit on the, the content side.
I agree. I don't like the distinction between comics and impressionists. Do both. If you're a comedian who does impressions, great. But I don't think your talent is doing impressions.
Yeah.
It should be doing impressions and then have good material.
And there again, we had another contestant who was clearly a professional. She'd been on Howard Stern's show. He couldn't
Right.
vote because.
Oh, yeah.
And then you wonder, like, is that fair for
Exactly.
little kids who are trying to dance who clearly aren't professionals? Like, is that fair? Like,
Right, they already
she's a
have a
seasoned
leg
pro.
up.
Yeah.
Especially if she gets to the live voting rounds, she already has a fan base. Mm-hmm. So that's going to give her a leg up to other people who don't have a fan base because no one's seen them before.
Exactly.
Right.
So with that you're right, it does make it tough. But let's move on to legacy. We had 4 men. Corey, you relate to them. They're all programmers.
Yes, we're all into computers very much. They
Yes.
were the most. Their introduction was the most boring thing I've ever seen in my
Right.
entire life.
Which I thought was great, though.
Yeah, it was a good setup
was-
because
it was
when
a red herring.
Yeah. And when they opened their mouths, they could sing.
Right.
Sang.
They were fantastic. I thought they were great singers. They sang a throwback song, which Kevin pointed out.
Yeah, it was. They are the Asian Boys to Men. That's for real. I mean, they harmonized.
sure.
And I say Boys to Men because Boys to Men, they were great at harmonizing. That's one of the things I really enjoyed. And this quartet harmonized to the T. I mean, I loved it. They sang well with each other. They were in rhythm with one another. And and they sang the throwback. Who doesn't like a good throwback song? I think it was a Motown song or something. I forgot the song that they
Right.
sang, but
Like Otis Redding or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, they could have easily chosen something that was current. Like you said, was it you that said,
I did.
they're going to sing a Miley Cyrus song or something?
That was my guess. When they
Yeah,
first
and it
came
wasn't
out.
predictable, which is
Right.
what makes it
It was
exciting.
great. And I think that they're a perfect act for AGT because we were thinking about marketing them. Aside from this, how do you really market them? Asian boy band? I don't know if that works. Older boy
I
band.
bet it'll work.
Or it could, but I'm saying outside of this. Whereas maybe that'll work. We don't know. But with this, I think it's the perfect. Oh, it's those guys from America's Got Talent that could sing really well, and that will propel them into just. Oh, it's legacy. They're really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next after that, we had Matt Franco, who did close-up card magic.
Magic Matt.
Magic Matt, exactly. And he did a really cool trick where he told a story, and without looking at the cards, just pulling the top cards, he would have different numbers that correspond with what he was saying in the story. And I've seen something close to that, and when it started, I was like, okay, I've seen this before. If you're going to come out and do magic, for me at least, as a fan, I'm a big fan of magic. I want you to do something I've never seen before. Otherwise, it's just a cover of whoever did it first. But then he started pulling out pictures of the hosts and recycling the cards, which I've never seen before personally, and I thought he did a really good job with it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, no, I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was brilliant. Very creative. The only thing about this is it's real tricky. I mean, you're on a huge stage. There's thousands of people in there. And I feel you kind of, if you're going to do magic, you kind of got to do your trick and play that to the audience. Now, I understand this was a card trick and he wanted to do it right on the desk, and it worked. It worked. But I think if he wants to go a lot further, he's going to have to do some bigger tricks that actually captivate and engage the audience more, because it was like he forgot about them, was just focused on the judges, which was good because the judges, at the end of the day, vote. But I just would have liked to see him do something. I mean, this was fine for now, but next time around, you got to use the audience, use the stage, and make it a lot more engaging for them.
You know, they said that last year all the time about Colin Ski, and he made it right to the end. So I think that there's a way to engage the audience in what you do, and he was so well prepared, and I love that he used the numbers as puns. He was like, Heidi, you're really 6-y. Ha ha ha.
Right.
You know, and like every number had a different. It was clearly rehearsed, but it was so well rehearsed that it seemed very, very natural to me.
Effortless, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that Jackson 5 too. That was pretty.
That was
pretty
great.
clever.
Yeah.
That was pretty clever.
It was great. I thought he did a really good job. One thing I was wondering while watching it is he was doing it so quick without missing a beat. I'm wondering if that's the editing and not him as much. Because when I saw
Some of it definitely could be.
right, because when I saw a guy doing, he would do it a little bit more like, you know, you are number 8. He's still not looking at it, but he's doing it a little bit slower. You could tell maybe he's thinking.
Yeah.
But with this, it just was so quick. And if he did it, great. And if it was TV magic, whatever, we're not going to know as viewers. So let's just write it off.
I don't know if it was just me because you guys aren't as fun as Kaori, but I felt like a lot of the acts were more than 90 seconds tonight. They were just like droning on. But maybe it was their company. I'm not sure.
Honestly, I think a lot of their.
hold on.
You're supposed
hold
to
on.
like get mad.
Yeah, I think that he was making.
I was digging you guys.
That was the dig.
I think he was digging you.
But
I
you're,
didn't. That wasn't me.
you're just too nice. You're nice.
I am. That's the way
We'll
I was
get you back
raised.
for that. It's fine.
All right.
No, I
Store
won't.
that.
Go for it.
I remember
Bring it.
things.
No, it did seem to.
I seem like it feels like some of the acts have more than 90 seconds to do their, and that's supposed to be the cutoff, but it was like 2 minutes.
No, I think what was long today were the backstories. The histories. I mean, there's a few that we're going to get
Right.
to whose backstories.
Especially next.
Yeah, took up like half of the whole show.
Like a good 10 minutes.
Like
that
a good
one.
10
Right.
minutes, yeah. I was looking, like it literally was. So I think you saw a lot of that today. They really focused on backstories, which made it seem the performance which may have seemed like the performance took a lot longer than it needed. But yeah, they took a lot of time on these backstories today. And I don't know if maybe that's why we were talking about this wasn't as exciting an episode, because sometimes those backstories, like you said about Legacy, they're kind of boring, you know?
Right.
When you do the backstory and it's this, and it really drags the show. And you know, I think that's we could attribute that to this particular show not being as exciting, is because they were just dragging these backstories with these people.
Right. Well, that's a perfect Paul Blart segue, because we had Paul Eddy next, who had
Yeah.
a very long,
I think the longest.
backstory.
Yeah.
They talked about how he's in the military, and they just showed all these pictures that look like the same pictures of him in the army, and then they
They
go
just
back
photoshopped
to.
different things
Right.
around them.
They just drilled and
Drilled.
drilled it that he's in the army currently.
Yeah.
And then
Those stories always captivate audiences. It's the military stories. They always
Oh, of
do.
course.
And you know, with all respect,
Or cancer survivor.
Of
you know.
course. Oh, definitely all respect, but when you boil it down to it, it only
it's like without the story, how far does
Exactly.
this talent translate?
right. Like you had a pretty not long but into it backstory that
Yeah.
they showed.
But yeah, they spent a lot of time.
Right, but then it didn't matter anymore. Your next couple acts performing.
You were judged purely on your
It
talent.
was just, oh, he's a great singer, and you kept going on that. So that's always the question of, would this guy have gotten such a big welcoming had he not been in the army? Which is great. Again, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful.
we love the military here.
But
We
as
love
a
the service.
singer, what's that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Kevin, you pointed out something interesting where you were noticing which acts got hashtags and which ones didn't.
Yeah.
And it seemed to me that the ones that they spent the most time on are the ones that had the
Right.
hashtags.
They're
So you
investments.
wonder what sort of producer puppeteering is happening.
Exactly.
And you
know,
could start to see it.
so it kind of seems like they're pushing their agenda as well. And, the people that do get these hack tags, the people that do get these hashtags, you wonder if it's kind of unfair to the other people that are competing because they're automatically being named favorites. The way they're editing it, they're editing this person in a way to be America's favorite. So you wonder if that is something, because how many times have you seen people vote for someone in particular because they're like, oh, I just love they're such a nice person. I like the way but it has nothing to do with what they did on the stage.
It's true.
And and not get me wrong, but you have a lot of compassionate people in America that will vote just because somebody's lovely backstory and whatnot. So I think it's just kind of unfair.
There's a hack tag coming up that we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes, and she wasn't wearing much. That's all I'll say.
A hack tag. Oh yeah.
A hack tag.
Yeah. Yes. Very, very correct. Well, let's move on to Christian Stoyanov, who is a hand balancer. He came out and he balanced things with his hands. What'd you guys think of this?
I mean, I thought it was cool. Like when his pointer finger was the only. There must have been some trick there, right?
That's what it looked like. He came out. He was wearing this coat that was like a ringmaster coat and gloves, and he balanced with one finger in a bottle on that only finger, and then he came down and he took the gloves off and the jacket, and it made me at least think that there was some sort of pole or something in his jacket. Like last season we had Special Head who
had that extra cane.
Exactly. So he had a cane that obviously it was going through his clothes to help him balance. So I felt like maybe that's it.
Yeah.
But it still was really cool. And after that he balanced just on his hands, and it was very cool.
Yeah. No, I thought he was good. I thought he put on a show for just being a solo hand balancer. Like a lot of them, there can be 2 or 3 at a time, but he was by himself and he gave us a show. I like that.
He gave the ladies a show too when he took his
very
shirt.
much did. Yes.
Yeah.
Heidi is like, she's just boy crazy all the time, isn't she?
Isn't she dating a boy now too?
I think she just
probably.
Oh yeah. Julian Schnabel's son. He's 26.
Yeah. Wow.
He's balling right now.
I'm sure
he's got Heidi Klum.
Oh,
he's
right.
26.
Yeah, I guess he kind of wins or loses depending on who you ask. Me. So let's go through. There was a quick montage as we were talking about earlier. They just flew through some of these people. We had a wire act, a guy balancing on wires. We had Bad Boys Ballet, which was again shirtless guys and some woman doing ballet. And then we had a band that they didn't even say the name. It was 2 guys.
The Brothers, right?
The
Brothers, yeah.
They said their names so quick we couldn't even tell. They were good.
Sounded like urine, though.
Right. I thought someone said urine.
It did.
Brothers.
I think that was one of his first name. But I really like that they did an up-tempo cover of Fields of Gold because that's an awesome song, and it's such a ballad, and they totally switched it around. That was cool.
They did a good job with it. The judges seemed to really like it. Again, for us, the viewers, it just went by so quickly, and all of those people got yeses. Again, we're not specifically saying all the yeses because at this point everyone's gone through. Everyone that we saw tonight is going to Vegas, and including a child singer. I didn't get her name.
Grace Ann Gregorio.
Yes, what you said.
Yes, she was 11. She sang "Think of Me" from Phantom of the Opera. Very predictable. I don't know. I actually adore Jackie Evancho. I think her voice is amazing, but I didn't think this girl was anywhere near her at all.
I think for 11 years old, she was pretty darn good. And that's just what I'm gonna say. Now, if she was 35 and did that same thing, I don't know.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I don't know if I would be as gung ho about it, but if I just look at her age and what she did, I was impressed.
I feel like at this stage, you can get by on that. She's 11, great singer, great. But when you get to the later stages, you really have to think about, if I buy an album, I'm not going to see her. I'm not going to be thinking about she's 11. Jackie Evancho was just amazing as an opera singer, period. You listen to her album, you have no idea how old she is. So I feel like it's fine now, but then going forward, we'll see how people, including us, really think about her. After her, we had Maggie Lane, who was a surprise to us, not necessarily the way we wanted it.
To me, this was the hack tag of the night.
Correct.
Bikini opera? Was that what it was?
Yeah,
Bikini opera.
Bikini opera.
Yeah. I don't know. I sound so jaded tonight.
No, I completely
We all
agree
sound
with
jaded
you.
tonight.
No. We
We're
love your
allowed to
opinion.
be.
Like her song was cool. Like it's kind of an overdone. It's O mio babbino caro. It's from Johnny Schicchi by Puccini. It's like one of those
Yeah, I know
famous
that.
melodies. We all know
Yeah,
it.
I know that.
Like
all
everyone who
those names.
hears it, it's like, oh yeah, I know that song.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's
it's
the
very
go-to for
predictable.
opera.
Yeah. There's only a few songs, a few opera arias, and this is not to insult America at all, but that we all know and recognize. So there's a very, very small pool of songs that you can really choose from. That's why most opera singers.
Bigelow.
Figaro. but
Figaro.
that's-
I knew that.
But
Yeah.
Bigelow's close.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but,
like that.
but
Deuce
Figaro
Bigelow.
is one of the most famous of them, so
Yeah.
you should have gotten
But
that.
anyhow, like, you should stand there and let the singing speak for yourself. If you're a singer, you shouldn't have to strip down to nothing to get ratings and to get a hashtag and to make the judges pass you through. I thought that was ridiculous, personally.
I agree. If I was on the judging panel, I think I would have said no to her because of that. She was
Right.
a great singer. She was very talented, but I feel that it's demeaning to lots of things, to women, to people, or to singers, and to opera in general, to say,
Right. Why?
this opera song's not enough. You have to look at me in a bikini.
I agree. Like, why couldn't she be a strong woman and stand there and be like, I'm a singer, I'm going to empower you, not I'm going to objectify myself.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, objectify is a great word. Clearly, that's what she did. Because initially, when she started, we were all drawn to her voice, and then when she did that, it just turned everybody off. Like, okay, but all right. Here's my thing. If you could have great singers, well, I guess subjectively, when I say great singers, such as Beyonce, Rihanna, Lady Gaga, who's a great singer, Katy Perry, if they could all go out on stage half naked in just bikini, sometimes less than that, and sing songs, and people appreciate and gravitate to that, how come this girl can't go out there and sing with a bikini on and do the same thing?
That's a good point. They do, most of them go out just half naked. most of the
Scantily
time,
clad.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they put on a show with it. They're dancing. There's other dancers dressed the same.
This
They're putting
girl
on a whole
has
thing.
90 seconds. You can't put on a show in 90 seconds.
You absolutely can.
But the other thing is that like her taking her clothes off didn't have anything to do with her song, her performance, her
Right.
artistic vision, her journey, whatever. And all the artists you mentioned, they're on a journey. They're doing something. It's all threaded through. Like that was just to get. And you know what? And I went and looked on Twitter afterwards at #Bikini Girl. And there's all these guys like, oh yeah, if that's opera, I want to watch some more of that. Like
That's what they
it
wanted.
worked. It worked.
Right. It
Yeah.
worked for them. But with those singers, the pop singers, they're singing about sexy things. That's the whole point. They come out. That's what they're singing about. This just didn't match.
No. And I understand what you're saying. It did not match, but I think it's unfair. And I'm kind of just playing devil's advocate. But I think it's kind of unfair for us to criticize her so much when there's so many other singers that do dress extremely provocative and things of that sort, and we go out and support them, buy their albums and things like of that sort. So it's just like, I guess you kind of have to look at it through, all perspectives. And I think by no means necessary am I endorsing what she did. I think that was wrong. Particularly because you have a lot of young girls that look up to opera singing and just in general, and they're going to see the attention that she got from that, and they may think, okay, when I go to my talent show for my middle school next year, maybe I'll do that, and then, I'll get all this attention.
I mean, the bottom line is sex sells, and it always has, right?
Right. But eventually, though, I think the problem's going to be the people that are fans of classical music and opera music are not going to enjoy it because of what she's doing, and all the people that are fans of her because of her body are not going to buy her albums because you can't look at her.
I
while
think
you
for the
listen to
most
it.
part, the voting public's very smart, and they're going to see right through that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if she came out with an opera album and she had a bikini on the cover of it, do you think that would help out?
Maybe, but people aren't really buying albums anymore.
That's true. They're going to
They'll
iTunes.
they'll just go online and Google her.
Yeah, exactly. Google image.
Right, and they'll listen to Forte or Branden while looking at her image.
I mean, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, it works for you. So let's move on. Next we had Dr. Benji, which brings us to our first crazy of the night.
Finally, we got one. Finally.
An hour and a half into a 2-hour show, we got our first no. Dr. Benji comes out. looking like Billy D. Williams with a melodica and a guitar, already you think, all right, either this guy is terrible or he's one of those red herrings where you're like, oh, this guy's going to be terrible. And then he's just amazing. He was not.
Yeah, I thought he was going to bring it. But then as soon as he started, I was like, oh, you hang out on the boardwalk in Venice Beach or you're on Hollywood Boulevard. Like, that's your thing.
Yeah, you know, it
much.
seemed too gimmicky, shall I say. You know, I couldn't take him serious as an artist because it did look very Venice Beach-like, very, you know, I'm sitting outside on Hollywood Boulevard with a bucket looking for change and I'm just doing these random things. So I think from an artist perspective, it didn't look authentic. Like he was, you know, truly a singer. He looked more of an entertainer or a showman or something of that sort.
But I have to give kudos to anyone who's over 60 who wants to get up there and do something.
Agree.
That's amazing.
Especially as most people may or may not know, it's not like he just walked up and auditioned. He must have spent hours there and multiple days just to get to where he did. So again, like you said, kudos to him. It wasn't very good, and unfortunately, it wasn't fun enough to go through, even though it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But let's go to our magical voice doctor,
Oh, my God.
who comes out and says, "I will get Howard Stern to sing well."
These are the moments where I wonder if there are plants in these kind of shows.
Right.
Because she said she was an opera singer. They didn't let her sing one single note. The whole thing was about Howard. It had nothing to do with her.
It really didn't.
No.
Yeah.
No. Nothing at all. I didn't see that.
Unless they cut it out.
She even had to ask.
Maybe.
It was so much
Maybe.
about Howard, she even had to ask, are those X's for me or are they for Howard? Because she wasn't doing anything. So I do agree, but I kind of think that was kind of staged. Like, I think that was kind of written in and it was just a little fun act kind of thing. I didn't really take it serious as she was really trying to, you know, woo them. And to me, it was just some comic relief, I guess.
Right. It's another one of those acts that make you think, does she really think she's good at this, or does she know that it has a comic value to it?
Mm-hmm.
And it would get some ratings in Showtime, you know.
Either way, she got our second no of the night.
Yeah.
And she got 4 X's, the first of tonight. I think maybe the only X's that we got tonight.
Yeah.
Dr. Benji may have. Dr. Benji got 4
He did
X's
get 4,
also.
yeah.
But those 2 were the only X's of the night. And so we are moving on to some Rubik's Cube kid. Again, they just blew past it. He was really good. I think he went through. I'm not even sure if they said
You
if he
notice
did.
all those little ones. That's very impressive.
I have a good eye for things.
He remembers
I guess
all that.
He did.
I have
And
a
all
great
he was
memory.
doing was like yapping the whole time.
All I do is talk. You
Yeah,
guys.
but then you still remember everything. How do you do that?
Well, because my eyes are looking, but my mouth is talking.
He has a photographic memory.
Again, I'm taking all of these and I'm just storing them up.
So, Brandon, be
Get
careful
you.
what you
All right,
say
all
or
right.
do around Daniel. He
Right.
will remember.
I
it.
do remember
To a T.
almost everything. Next, we got stand-up Josh. I don't remember his last name. I apologize. But he is a 12-year-old stand-up. He comes out. He's Jewish, one of my people, wearing a yarmulke, not pronounced yarmulke, Kevin.
Jewish and ginger. Are we allowed to say ginger? Is that like a non-PC
I think we
word?
can. They'll bleep it.
12-year-old Jewish ginger comedian.
ginger?
Like he's already got an act. Like that's enough. That's a
Yeah.
gimmick right there.
Yeah,
Like,
so correct. And he comes out and he looks like a wholesome kid and he talks to them a little bit. And he starts his act and it's very reading a monologue-y act. He did say that he's never done stand-up before. He's only performed in front of his brothers. So that's just something that you get through experience and years of stage time. So you can get through that. But it was very reedy. It reminded me very much of an SNL sketch that was about a bar mitzvah kid who was just reading his bar mitzvah speech. So it did feel that. So his stage presence was okay. But he just started getting into some dirty jokes.
raunchy.
Very raunchy that you did not expect to see from him. And I will say this, though, I'll give him credit. He did not curse. He did not go completely blue. There were just a lot of entendres, which
He
I
was
thought was
talking
clever.
about his mother refusing to perform oral sex on his dad in other brilliant kind of ways.
Yes, but in a double entendre.
Yeah, exactly.
And so much so, and he didn't realize. Again, this is experience, but he didn't realize how good he is because he got the entire audience to crack up on the setup of a joke.
That was the
It's
nuts,
true,
the
it's
nuts
true.
one, I think. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
because this first one, he said something about long
standing in line. Or
standing in
something.
line. It's going to be long and hard, and he said that's
Gonna
what
make me go nuts.
that's what my doctor said last
The
time I had a
physical.
checkup.
Yeah.
And then he said something about I had a female friend over. She said she's allergic to nuts. And the
right.
audience lost it.
They already started laughing, yeah.
Before he even gave the punchline. And again, a seasoned stand-up would say something like, I don't even need to finish that joke. Or he would know. But Josh did finish it. But again, it's just, time. But I thought it was very funny.
I mean, me being the antagonist again, it felt like his dad maybe wrote the material for him.
Yeah.
Because
could
it was
be.
like he was reading it from his like he
Yes.
just memorized it. Like 7 years ago, my dad wrote my material for me.
It very well could be. And
I don't know.
No, I agree with you. And I think 50% of comedy is your stage presence. So
Right.
you can have other people write your stuff for you as long as you sell it.
yeah.
So if that's the case, he just needs to learn to sell it. And it's going to be tough for him because there aren't a lot of open mics that cater to 12-year-olds.
This is true.
Most of them won't even let you in. But hopefully he'll be able to get some practice and work all that out in the
Yeah.
meantime. Maybe you can shed some light on how much time there actually is between the first auditions and going to Vegas.
It depends. There can be weeks. There can be a couple of months actually. It depends. Yeah, because some of these judges auditions they filmed like in February. I want to say March maybe, and then Vegas is June, which actually just filmed. It hasn't aired yet. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. Whatever.
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 You did.
I said
NBC's
it.
not
Spilled the
coming in,
beans.
hopefully. So hopefully in that time he got off stage and he just started practicing it, whether it's in front of his friends or if he can get on stage somewhere. Hopefully he started honing that and he'll come to Vegas and just bring it.
Are they going to Vegas this year? Have you heard them say?
I have not heard it.
You're
no.
going to Vegas.
I
haven't heard that.
You're moving on. Yeses.
Yeah.
You're right. So maybe they're not even going to
in
Vegas.
Vegas this year.
We don't know.
Brittany took over Planet Hollywood. There's no room for
That's
them.
what it is. It's all Britney.
That's all.
Blame it on Brittany.
I always do.
When in doubt.
Or Obama. That's the two.
This is an awkward.
So
moment.
moving on, our last act of the night, Laura Dulce, I think Dolce
Dossier.
She's a
that?
folder.
Yes.
She is a briefing folder.
She had an autoimmune deficiency of
Yes.
some kind, which it remained nebulous.
Yes, it's a magical, some sort
Yeah.
of disease that leaves her bald.
Hairless. Yeah.
So she was
Yeah.
wearing a wig. And I have to say, I commend her on not bringing it up before her act started. She was judged solely on her act. And then afterwards, after they made their decision, she said, I look like Howie under this wig. And then they asked about it. And then everybody was like, oh, that's so great. You're so strong. So you can just watch her act, not think about her backstory.
Exactly.
And she was good. She was an aerialist.
For 43, she could do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
she was in great shape.
Yeah, it was great. I was saying also, again, 5 people may be able to do this in the world, but if all 5 people are on America's Got Talent, it makes us think that lots of people can do this, and it makes it less special. I know
Yeah.
we can't do it, or at least I can't do it.
I can. You haven't checked my resume.
Do you want to go into your resume, Kevin?
No, the fans don't have time for that.
I've seen your resume.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What most
Will
impressed you on there?
you email me a
Your
copy?
trip to New York. I will.
All right. I want to take
Would
a
you
look.
say you love New York?
We all love New York. Don't you love New York?
Yeah, I lived there for 9 years. and
Yeah, me too.
it's fun to visit. I wouldn't
Oh.
live there again.
Awesome place. I do love New York. Great place.
Good. Perfect place. Perfect place to end the show tonight. Again, it was lackluster. She got in. Josh got in. The Rubik's Kid got in. basically Dr. Benji and the Magical Voice Doctor were the only ones.
The doctors, they don't like doctors.
It's the
They don't.
doctors. They
Yeah.
did not get in tonight. So let's very quickly get into some of our predictions of who's going to be moving forward.
And now,
It's very-
your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I've never heard this before.
It's a thing that we do sometimes. Basically, we'll just go through and name a couple people that we think might go very far and a couple people that are going to be gone out of there. Kevin, would you like to start us off?
I think that Legacy is going to go far. Just for the simple fact, you know, it's unique. They're an Asian quartet, and they really are talented. And I know we were talking earlier about there being a lot of singers and things of that sort, but I think Legacy has something special. Expect to see them go on for a while. Matt Franco, that was the magician, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he went further too, just because that trick that he did was so brilliant. But I would just like to see him. I just want to see what he does next. I think that's my thing, the anticipation of seeing him. Yeah, really, those were the really big two stars to me tonight that I really enjoyed. Yeah, I would say those are my two stars for the night.
I agree with you. I think that they were, to me, by far the standouts of the night. Definitely have potential of being bigger. So
Yeah.
I agree with you. Those are my predictions of going far in the competition. Brandon?
I think the military Rihanna singer guy, I think he'll probably get
You're
far.
probably right.
And all the singers are going to get through. People like to vote for singers.
That's
It happens.
Right. Works well for some people.
It does. It does. Emily West, that other the girl in the
Yes.
beginning, I think she'll probably be amongst the last people standing as well. As far as other acts, I don't know. Maybe I'm becoming a fan of Close Up Magic. Like I never thought I would be, but that guy was good. There was a guy last week who was also awesome.
I think, sorry.
Yeah, I like Close Up Magic.
It's
is
great. I think that they now have to step it up because they've seen it can go through. It just has to be really good and something different.
And the thing with Close Up Magic is I like it as well, but the unfortunate thing to me is Close Up Magic doesn't play Vegas stage. Close Up Magic is like birthday parties, intimate gatherings and things of that sort. And you got to think this is for a Vegas show. So I think at some point in time, you have to step it up and play to the Vegas show,
Well, I think that this is a start. This is for the judges to
Yeah.
get him to the next
It's entry,
place.
yeah.
But then you're right. You have to expand it. Even
Like
Collins Key,
he expanded it. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
You had to make it bigger, right?
Correct.
I feel like Close Up Magic could be a TV show though. Like there could be.
If you do, you're right. It could be a TV show, not
Yeah.
necessarily a live act.
Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you guys so much for
Is that it?
tuning in.
We're
That's
done?
it. Yeah, we are
Wow,
done.
that's so fast.
Unless
I know,
you're,
right?
unless you're going to
It
sing
was
for us.
A lot,
No.
a lot more painless than it was last week.
Yes, it was. Maybe because
Kaori's
Kaori's
not
body doubles here.
Right,
Exactly.
exactly. It's so much better.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, where can we find you at?
You can find me at your local bar, or if you don't find me there, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at HeyKevinJohn, or on my website, it's kevinjohn.com.
Great. Brandon, where can we find
You can
you?
find me on Twitter and Instagram at BrandenJMusic. That's BrandenJ Music, or my website www.brandenjames.com.
Perfect. Thank you again so much for joining us.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks for having me back.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a pleasure. Please come back anytime. You can find me at my brand new Twitter. It's Daniel Weiss.
Wow. How
on
many
Twitter.
followers do you have?
Like 16.
Yes.
That's a good start.
Great start. You can also follow my improv group if you like that sort of thing at Doctor Who Live on Facebook and Twitter. Guys, thank you so much. Please join us next week. Buy Maria's book. It's fantastic. And we will see you next time.
Peace out.
See ya.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Why did it have to be snakes?
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.